Hello, welcome to a Trainz stream. We are gathered here today to build a Trainz map, in case that wasn't clear. Hello Vicky, hello Kangafango, everybody, hello, welcome. So, it's been forever! Well, it's been about a week, but hello. So, hello NJ Gamer 12, welcome. So this is part of what I worked on since the last stream. So this is of course Oscom. You may recognize it a bit better by the beach. Of course, if you head this way, you eventually get to Hadley Head, all the way down there. And actually, at the beginning of last stream, while we were doing our test drive, which by the way, the archive of that will be on YouTube in the not too distant future, I was talking about potentially putting in a junction somewhere to have a branch that goes further west, mainly because this bridge across the estuary here seems really very expensive if you're only servicing those two towns, Oscom and Hadley Head, because otherwise you would probably just double track this little line that goes across here, so this one. So I was thinking about that, and I was kind of pondering that last stream, and I think I found a potential solution, which is actually, it's a variant of a different idea I had. So the original idea was to maybe have a junction here somewhere and then have a line going across this embankment along with the road, but that would look messy and there's height difference and all that, so that wouldn't work. But then I had the idea I could maybe just have a line that kind of curves off to the right here, where I've kind of sketched it out with this invisible track. So if I had a junction here and a fairly sharp curve of the railway kind of hugging this hill and then turning off into this valley and then turning west, I think that would work quite well and wouldn't really be too disruptive probably, because as you're coming along this way you would still get that reveal of the valley and the little village down there and things like that. And looking the other way, you would just see a little terrace coming that way. And I think that could add quite a bit and, well, would not be problematic, hopefully. So that's something I might add. Now, let's get to the actual stuff that I built. Right, Oscom, here we are. You might see that there are a lot more houses. I've been working on this side of the town and the middle bit, not really the right bit very much, although a little bit of that I have done as well. So let's just fly along the tracks from along here. So you're coming down here and then go underneath this bridge, and I haven't placed the third rails here yet. And then to the right you can see a golf course. It's a 14-hole golf course. And then you get to this junction. If you go left, then kind of follow along this nice little curve here with some more modern houses, which then joins back up with the other line just in front of this station, which is Oscom Town. You can see an old signal box there. Right, so this is Oscom Town Station. It has partial wheelchair accessibility. Mainly this platform is wheelchair accessible, this one is not. Yeah, so you've got this, which I'm really happy with how this station is turning out. For some reason, it just looks so... it just looks so interesting with that little retaining wall on the side, seeing the houses behind that, but then the countryside on the other side. Yeah, I just really like that. So, let me read chat before I continue. Also, the Concha emote posted above, I just realized why it has that name. The Japanese word used to greet someone is Konnichiwa. Oh, I see. It's obvious now. Hadley Head Estuary. No, that's not Hadley Head Estuary. Be right back. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. So yeah, would also give train spotters more train captures opportunities if they had another line running past it. True. Oni, yes. I'm back. I'm gonna just listen to you guys while I play Trainz. Well, have fun, and I wish you a lot of patience and creativity. Realized that last night. Nice. Right, so this line, of course, it continues this way. You can see I've already placed some of the track signage. Yeah, so this line then continues this way and will go along the seaside, crossing over the bridge by the estuary, and then connecting back up here to the bit that I showed last time. I haven't done any work on this bit since last stream. Back to Oscombe. So, if instead of turning off here, you go straight, you can see the embankment going up on the left as the train line goes into this cutting with some nice bridges going across. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Obviously it's missing streetlights and some little bits, but this just feels like a place that I could go and visit, like for a day trip or something, and I'm really happy with that. And also the bin does add a lot. It does really make it feel authentic. Right, so then carries along. You can see some nice little scenes here, some older things. Nice little carried away shopping street, some bus stops and things like that. Carries on, and then goes past this point where I decided to put a restaurant, which, by the way, is what I had imagined when I first designed this. So you can sit here, buy something to eat and drink as you watch the trains go by from both lines either way. So, yeah. I'm just imagining you sitting here playing a game of, like, if there's a train pulls up in the station there, you can play a game of, oh, will it turn left, will it turn right, and then whoever wins has to buy everybody else dinner or something, who knows. Anyway, so yeah, then that connects back up to the station, and yeah, you know how that continues back there. On the other side, I haven't done that much in comparison, because this bit is still very empty, but over on this side, also, yeah, I have created a lot of these little spaces and things like that. Anyway, over on this side, you can see the gardens are built directly onto the tracks. And you can see most people have decided to put up like wooden fences so that people can't look into their back gardens from the street. Some people haven't, because some people maybe want to do a bit of gardening and would like to have a bit more sunshine, or maybe would like to see the trains going by, and so, yeah. Right, so then this continues, and you can see I have also added a lot of, kind of these little scenes in the middle here where it just feels like a town. Right, so then that drops down on the left, and of course connects back up with the station. So that's the work I've been doing on Oscombe, and actually I'll quickly show you through the golf course as well, and then I'll show you the other stuff that I've done. Right. We also add road markings to indicate where traffic should stop. I don't know. Maybe in the future as an editing pass, but that's the sort of detail that would take a lot of time and then could delay the whole project. Like if I'm doing those little details all over the place, I wouldn't really get anything done. Right. And your little bin, right. Looks so good, thanks. Honestly, that is a cafe I'd like to go to, but I'd make sure I have access to real-time trains if I went with you. Yeah. Yes. What platform are you using for the stations? It varies. For this station, I'm using the spline platform tarmac with edging stones and yellow line 5M. So that's the asset I'm currently using here, but it varies. Because all of my stations are put together manually with, hold on. Yeah, are put together manually with different splines. So I can just move this bit out of the way and then, yeah. And I've also had to put in some other edging on some of the platforms on the ends and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, the golf course. So you begin here. Here's your first tee. I'll try to make this a little quick because we've already gone a quarter of an hour through almost. Yeah, so there's your first tee. That woman in red didn't even blink as the platform went below her shifted. I mean, it might be the safest option to just not to react. I mean, if you think about it, I didn't even do anything. I just flew away, and now she can do whatever she wants. If she had reacted, I would have been like, hold on, did that passenger just react to me moving the platform? Is that new in Trainz? And then I would have experimented, and then, well, that would have just been a hassle for her. Anyway, so you tee off, you shout timber, and then you kick the ball with your toes, and then there's the first hole to here. Then for the second hole, for the second tee, you go around the bush, which is a little bit of a barrier to kick. Ouch. Yeah, so there's a little bit of barrier to incoming balls. Now this second one is a little trickier because the second hole is behind the boulder. So either you've got to hit the ball over this boulder, bounce it off the back one and then down onto the green, or you've got to bounce it off diagonally off this one, or you just do it in multiple hits, I guess. Yowch! Right, next one over this side, and this whole course just so happens to be on a hillside. The hill was already there. And no, I mean this literally. I built the hill first and I thought, oh, maybe a golf course would be nice. So yeah, this second one goes across the... Where are the pirates? There aren't any pirates on this course, sorry. It would have been a nice call, but I don't think I have any. Maybe I'll... And besides, that would be better fitted for like a mini golf course, which I still might put somewhere, who knows. The water features, there are water features on this. We'll get to those. Right, so this next hole goes across the course. And you can see I have put some fencing here so that the balls don't accidentally go across or maybe hit trains or whatever. Just imagine that meshing being a little bit tighter. Right, so this is, yeah, that's that hole down here. Next one from here. Now this is the first one to cross the water features. So you hit the ball here. Goes across this water feature, you can see a little drain down there. And there are particle effects from these pipes. Hold on, if I unpause. Yeah, there you can see particle effects. Yeah, and so that goes off onto here. The nice, lovely sandbank behind it. That is totally not infuriating for anybody. And then across here, and then in the shade of this pine, I think it's a pine. The next hole is from here across the water feature again, and each time you've got to go all the way around the water feature. Alright, so you go into this one, then you go up to here. I've put a nice little wall here so you know which way you need to hit the ball. And this one goes past these branches, across the water feature again, in here, and then across this way, and then across the water feature one more time. This one's a little bit more difficult because this one goes all the way over here, above this boulder, and then into here. So yeah, I have added some, because it is on an embankment, I have added some sandbanks here just to stop the balls from rolling all the way down the hill. So these are actually helpful. Right, so in here, then you've got to go behind the safety fence, hit the ball again, and this time the hole's right up here. So you can try to get the ball on here, and it might work. I mean, you do have these little stones around here that might slow it down a bit. But if you overshoot, you get a nice sandbank there. And then you can try to just roll it up here on this little embankment on the side. Then you go across, around the fence. This one's a little bit easier. Hit the ball here, bounce it off the wall there, and into the hole here. Then for the next one, you've got to go through here to this tee, hit the ball, and this time either you've got to try to just have to get it to a stop here and then hit it there because this is behind a bush, or you can try to hit it off the side of this boulder and bounce it in here. Then this one has got some more props on it, namely this wagon, where you can try to hit it a little bit of an angle so that it kind of rolls through, but this is on a curve. You can try to hit it above it, or maybe try to curve it off that hill on the left, or who knows. Anyway, the hole's right here behind it in a line. Then you cross the safety barrier, and this one is the more kind of tropical themed hole because there's so many sand pits here. You've got the palms, like a beach feeling. Gonna hit it across here. Maybe use this little bit here as a ramp. Who knows? And then you've got to hit it in here. Now you've got 2 more holes left because this is a 14-hole course. This one you've got to go around the edge to this hole. And with this one you've got a little hill on the left and a little hill on the right. You can try to kind of hit it through here, and then it might still roll off here because that's where the hole is. And then you've got the last hole right here, where you've got to hit the ball kind of in between those 2 kind of lower jaw teeth looking stones they've put there. So you hit it off, you hit the ball there, and then either it gets stuck up here and you need to somehow get it off, or you kick it over, or whatever happens. Goes through here, comes down along there, past the sandbanks, and that's the final hole right there. So then you've got to carefully make your way back across here and you're done. Yeah, so that's the Oscombe golf course. Right, this kind of seems like a cross between a golf course and a mini golf course, and I love it. Alternatively, you win the game if you hit the ball perfectly enough. Perfectly through the mesh. Well, now that's what I call hole-in-one. If pro golf were actually like this, I'd have my eyes glued. Actually, they should have crazy golf tournaments. That would be fun. But hey, you've got that on Twitch, like with crazy golf games, like multiplayer games. Who knows, maybe that exists. It better. Right, so this area over here isn't quite finished yet, but that's how much I've managed to do in Oscombe over the week. Now, the next... I know there might actually be some little bit of scenery in this bit here as well. I don't know if any of this is new or not. Anyway, next bit. So, Slovak Eagle. So last time we were working on the terminus up here, and Slovak Eagle and Brand and lots of people were giving very helpful tips. But then Eagle decided to just make a little video where he did a little mock-up of some of his ideas, which would be good for me to implement perhaps, and he gave reference to which stations he looked at for different bits. And so I looked at that and redesigned the junctions into something that incorporates some of those ideas. So here we go. So this is what it looks like now. And I really like it quite a lot. This is going to look very nice with scenery around it as well. And let me just walk you through the idea. Okay, so let's walk through this. So this, no, that would be much too slow. Basically, it's split up into 3 sections-ish. So you've got, so all the longer platforms are the ones, that's a nice station. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, all the assets are on the DLS, by the way, so you can build one just like it. So, right. The platforms with the, well, so the tracks with the longer platforms are for the intercity trains, so the ones that are going on the fast line, because the way this works is on this Y, on the left side, you've got these 4 tracks coming in with the right-hand side the tracks, these ones being the intercity fast tracks, and these ones on the left being the ones that have the intermittent stations on them that are a bit slower. So that's where those are coming from, and then you've got 2 slow lines coming in from over here as well. These are the 2 outer tracks are just for going onto the other line, but it's only 2 tracks. So over here, these ones in the middle, so these 6 tracks here on the long platforms are for intercity trains, so they need to have direct access onto the fast tracks. Then you've got the 3 tracks on the outside, probably with this long track as well on either side, because, well, you're going to have more slower commuter trains than intercity, so this track is probably going to be used a lot by the commuter trains as well. So these are accessible for commuters, for the left line primarily. Hello, Slavic Eagle. I'm just running through the changes that I made following the video. Actually, be right back while I go on the toilet. Sure. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence. So, and then you've got the same over on this side as well. Now, the thing is, you need to, I need to have the left and right tracks, well, the left and right platform, commuter platforms, be accessible from either sides, which isn't strictly necessary, but it's very useful. So some of the ideas that Slavic Eagle had in his video, one was to have these crossing over diamonds right after the platforms to get the trains out of the oncoming lane as soon as possible if needed. And then these just all kind of merge together. So in the throat here, and this is also the same as in Eagle's example, you've got the fast lane in the middle now, and the two commuter tracks on either side, which means the middle track just kind of splits off into all of the long platforms, with optional crossovers here for the other short platform if needed. And then you've got a diamond crossover here, which means that you can get onto any of those fast platforms or off of them. Now, if we just follow the fast lane through here, it's pretty unencumbered because it just continues through here and goes out onto the main line. So the only junctions that the intercity trains will have to deal with are the ones right here in the station's throat, where they choose which platform to go on or come out of. Now, the other line, this one, the 2-track kind of commuter line that doesn't have any fast tracks attached to it, this one comes in, and normally trains will just go straight ahead over this overpass, which I haven't put the wall under yet. So it'll go over this track and just kind of come in here nice and easily with access to these 4 platforms. But if that isn't enough, if those platforms are all full or there are trains already departing, then a train could choose to go on, the dispatcher could choose for a train to go onto this left track instead, where you can go underneath here, underneath the high speed, well, actually no, this is the other line, and then underneath the high speed. Now this is an alteration to what Eagle has suggested, because in Eagle's example, the lines that join up with the second commuter line that comes from the right, one of them also goes over with a flyover and then connects. So there is no level crossing diamond in those, no level junction. Hello, welcome back, bag. So this is an alteration I made. So hello, hello. So this is an alteration I made to the idea because for one thing, I really like the look of this having a junction down there. But also, I wanted to have like a stepped up feeling. So you've got the lowest bit there, then a bit higher, then a bit higher, then a bit higher. And also, this is probably very rarely used because this would only be used if trains, like the only problem here is if you've got a train on the wrong side that wants to go off onto the less used commuter line to the right, then it would briefly block the commuter trains on this diamond. But since that's a fairly rare occurrence anyway, I decided to put just a level junction in here. So then this goes under here, under the high-speed lines, as you can see by the camera going very fast. And then this is now, these two tracks that now lead onto the right side of the right four platforms are actually the ones that come from back here that run parallel with a high-speed line. So this high-speed line is the 4-track one coming from over here. If we now go parallel to the high-speed line on the left tracks, then normally trains will just go straight. They're going to dip down beside these other two, and don't worry, I'm going to fill this space with something. You've got road access here. So then these curve around here, merge with the other two tracks, and then have access to those 4 platforms. So that's where that connects. But let's say those 4 platforms are full, or there's a train already departing, or maybe there's works going on, whatever. Then a train might choose, or a dispatcher might choose for a train to go left onto here. Will the high-speed line have third wire? You mean third rail? Do you mean third rail? All of this will be third rail electric, yes. And I know that'll be a lot of fun to do, gulp. So, yeah, the train will go up here onto this elevated track, cross this little bridge, then it'll cross the connecting lines that connect the right side of the station with the left commuter tracks, and then go underneath the main commuter tracks coming from the left, and then it'll come in with the junction over here just before the double crossover, where you've got access to those 4 platforms there. Now, that's most of this done, with the exception of if you're coming out of the station. Now, if you're coming out of the station as a long-distance train or high-speed train, then, well, you're going to be on a long platform, and then all you've got to do is pretty much just go straight. So even if you're like on this platform, you just take the crossover, and then you'd automatically be funneled onto the proper line. But if you are over on this platform, for example, and you want to say, if you want to go left onto the left commuter line, that's fine. You can just go along here, and then you're automatically funneled on the correct line. You've just got to turn left down here as well. But if you want to go to the right commuter line from here, well, then you've got to go funnel onto this side as well, like before. But then instead of turning left down here, you've just got to turn right and go up this way. And then there's going to be a junction here that connects up with the right commuter line. So that's how to get onto that track. Now, if it's the opposite, if you're on this line over here somewhere and you want to turn left onto the left commuter line, then you've just got to go here onto either of those 2 tracks. And then instead of going straight ahead onto the right commuter line, you turn off here, where this line bridges over the other connections with the kind of main 2 commuter line tracks going underneath. And then this just has the 2 coming up beneath and then connects back onto this line. So yeah, that's all of the different connections here and how they work. And it does look a lot better than it did with the other design, doesn't it? It's half an hour of just explaining stuff, of not even building anything. Right, so yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah, and this is gonna look so nice with third rail stuff and with signals and all that sort of stuff in as well, which I haven't done yet, of course. So, what to do first? Well, I guess we'll just... I'm happy to give you the inspiration. Well, I'm happy to take the inspiration. POSIX 5s. So, I guess I'll put in the kind of elevated filled viaduct here up to the point down there. Then I'll build the junction here, and then I suppose we'll maybe start blocking out some roads and stuff around here. Who knows? Although one thing I was thinking about as well is whether or not this station would be, hold on one second, there we go, whether or not the station would be usable for like Steam rail tours or something like that. Because, I mean, with normal local hauled trains, like with class 37s or whatever, oh no, not 37, what was it, 47, 57? Anyway, those modern local hauled trains, as long as I have like a crossover, 57, there we go, as long as I have like a double crossover at the end here before, somewhere along here, maybe if I extend this slightly, who knows, then that can easily be used to run around, or maybe I can just put in a little run around track on the side somewhere for that, like on either side, but, or just something like that, or maybe even back here, but that's not a problem. The thing is, with steam locomotives, if I wanted them to go in here, like tender locomotives, I'd either have to put a turntable somewhere, which wouldn't feel very realistic, or maybe they'd have to reverse and go across the Y and then go forward and back, but then having an engine go through and reverse to get on the other side on the Y doesn't feel like something that would really be doable. So maybe this just isn't really useful for like steam tours with tender engines or something like that, this particular station. Maybe they just go straight across the Y. Who knows? It's something I've been thinking about. I think you should change the system so each platform is just stacked on top of each other with a giant lift on the side with a piece of paper saying, out of order, please use stairs. Yeah, that'd be funny. Although that reminds me, in the 1920s or something like that, there were vertical car parks where you had like a lift for cars where you would drive onto the platform and then the lift would take your car up and you could drive out onto the stack. Or there was like a chain system where you would drive on and it would pull the chain around, I think. Stuff like that. But you said, no, it's a good idea. No! Half of them would go underground though. Local trains wouldn't work here unless you have engine on both ends. Well, they would work if I just had a little crossover track at the end here, like something like that, for example, with enough space for loco to go behind it, because then you could pull in a train here with the coaches being, well, probably on the long platform, so there's enough space for the train, uncouple the loco, go forward, then reverse back around here, use this double crossover to go forward, and then couple back up to your coaches that you've left here. So that would, I don't see why that wouldn't work. It's just with steam locomotives that need to turn around that there would be an issue. 1920s, they still exist today. Ah, I remember we looked at that on stream last year or something. I do recall too, yep. Volkswagen had one in Germany, Japan and China, and several across the country. Back when the MVR was still close to town. Right, I need to actually do some building. How does one build in this game again? Does anyone recall? Okay. So, doing work? Gasp! Indeed. I've noticed that this is a little bit more tricky to build in Classic. I think that this is one of those instances where Surveyor 2.0 might actually be a little bit easier, because in Surveyor 2.0 you can pretty much always click on a spline by clicking on the little dot there. Ooh, although this is one thing that I only discovered today. I don't think I knew this before, which is that in Surveyor 2.0 with a grade tool, you can actually terraform at an angle. Like if I go here, select the grade tool, if I select a grade of, I don't know, well, like 30, for example, then if I just start doing this, you can see that it's actually I'll set the intensity up, the severity up to 100. You can see that it's actually drawing in that particular grade like that. And you can turn it with the angle. Like if I type in like -45 degrees, you can see that it's now doing it at a, well, -45 or 270 degree angle like that. See? I never knew that this was an option surveyor 2.0. That's so useful for embankments and stuff like that. Because previously what you want, how you would do that is you'd put in a track and have that give that a grade and then set the height of the terrain to the track and then delete the track. But this way is much easier. I never knew that that was a feature before then. Lots of keybinds. I'm curious if your on-stream chat has Twitch plugins enabled. I have no idea. The answer is no. Well, okay, there you go. Right, so just kind of doing this. Actually, do you think it would be good to have some stream-friendly music playing in the background for the Trainz building streams, kind of like we did with the mapping streams at one time that Jamie suggested? Need what? Need the cat? Yeah, I think you need the cat. Heavy metal streaming, please. I'll let you add that yourself if you want to have it. I wish I could give you a copy. A copy of... Oh, is that a special emote that only some people have access to? Oh, I see. Right, so we've done that. Now let's do the other side of it. So I'm just going to roughly line this one up. Click on that dot to get the height. You can see the height down here. That's 2.77. Although I have noticed that the height indicated here only has 2 decimal numbers behind it, which normally is enough. But if you're lining the third rail, for example, where individual centimeters count, it can be... I was getting errors where the height was too high or too low of the third rail, and I double-checked everything and everything was fine. All said the same thing, but then I thought, hold on, maybe that's not exactly the number, maybe it's just rounding it. And then I retyped in the number on the track spline, and yep, it set it down a little bit. So that's not exactly the same. What would you say is the hardest part of route building? I would say staying motivated. Like, it's really only in, well, since the first route that I properly finished was the Beetlebrook line, or Beetlebrook Railroad, or whatever it was called, that I made in, I think, 2016, 2017 or something like that. Every single route I made prior to that, since 2008, I hadn't finished. I just kept building until I got really bored of it and unmotivated, and that was that. So motivation is one thing, but also I think the other, like, it's not that hard to build beautiful scenery, but it is pretty hard to build efficient scenery, because, like, for example, with the golf course that I made, that took quite a bit of time, and it looks beautiful, but it doesn't really extend the route at all. Like, you can only see, like, if you're in the cab mode, you can only barely see it. If you're going from the outside, you can kind of see it in there. It's just if you fly around the route and you maybe investigate a little bit, then you can find it. But it's like, for example, I'll just go over here. It's really, like in Oscom, for example, it would be really easy to, in all of this area up here, to put down all of the roads and place down each of the houses so that they're attached to the roads, and put down little gardens behind all of them and all that sort of stuff. And then you're going to spend days and days and days doing that. And then you look at your route, you go to drive it, and you haven't really expanded it any. So I think getting a feeling for how to do broad brush strokes first, so planning out the terrain and laying the tracks down, then adding rough further away details and only adding smaller details closer to the tracks, and doing that in layers so that you actually make progress while keeping the high detail fidelity for players. That's also quite difficult. And it can also be tricky to get realistic track layouts done, as you clearly know. Right. These are all new. I see. They come as part of hype trains I found out the other day. I have no idea. It's interesting. I was watching a stream and the emote family chat is in rewarded. I see. Sure, the same. I was still yet to probably finish a route. So I assume people who get gifted subs are considered to have taken part? I have no idea. Maybe. Gosh, seeing this route develop really makes me want to start this never built mainline network concept train. For train. Oh, this thing. Yeah. Would be nice. But no, nah. National Farm Z2 first. Well, I hope that you're making progress with that then. Although, I also have those emotes too, so I wonder if they use the same emotes for hype trains as they do random drops. Maybe. Hovering over, FFC tells you that it came from Twitch Bits Rewards. Never spend a penny on Twitch, so who knows. Sure it is, yep, sure it is, yep, and that's exactly what happened to me. Many times I just get completely bogged down with the details in one base spot chock full of details, and then wouldn't have the motivation for, or really just ideas of really expanding it. Another thing that can be quite difficult is building routes with performance in mind, because like this is only something that I really noticed with the MVR, because previously I would just build routes and then at some point it would start lagging, and then I would either build new bits and just put up with the lag, or just give up because the project got a bit too laggy. And it was only really with the MVR that I became aware of different asset creators that put assets on the download station having different ideas of what a good asset is polycount wise. So like, for example, these houses, so some of these houses have a higher polycount, like some of the ones that are next to the tracks. But I went through each of these assets. By the way you can see the polycount, like for example, if I wanted to see the polycount of this house, I can find it like this. It's called DS Victorian Semi-Detached House something. If you go in here, type it in, DS Victorian, oh, it's one of these. Hold on, which one is it? It is number 02B. Then this one. If I press Control-Shift-R, like I think it's probably Command-Shift-R on Windows, I would assume. If I press that one with this selected, it'll open up the asset in preview mode. And you can see the number up here, triangle count. This is, because if you don't know, 3D models are made up of triangles. Yes, it might display them as quads or as n-gons, different shapes, but it all breaks down into triangles. So, like this house, for example, has 1,142 triangles. And you can change the LOD distance, because some assets the further away you view them at, they switch to lower resolution models to save performance. If I set this to like 2,500 meters, nothing happens. So this asset does not have any level of detail LODs set up. So this house is great for up close, but I wouldn't fill an entire town or city with them because, well, over 1,000 triangles isn't great. But then if you look at a house like this, for example, which I've used a lot in my background stuff, this one is UK Urban Semi FAR 01. UK Urban Semi, this one. If I have a look at that, you can see this house only has 81 triangles instead of the over 1,100 that the other one had, which means that if this had like 100 triangle count, then 11 of these houses, and you can imagine like 11 houses, that's in pretty much a street of houses, or at least the side of a street or something like that. You can have an entire street of houses for the same, pretty much the same performance hit that a single one of the other houses would have with this asset. And even the ones that aren't marked as far, like this one, which is marked as a closer asset, even though this, the author has just said UK Urban Semi 1 for this, and the other one is Semi FAR 1, even this one, which is meant to be used a bit closer, only has 219 triangles. The draw count, by the way, also affects performance. That's how many different materials it has, so the lower the draw count, the better. But doesn't really matter that much. Oh, this, I never realized there are God rays in this preview. Huh. Anyway, so even these buildings are far, far more performance efficient than the one I looked at first. So I did use these ones, but I used them a bit sparingly and pretty much only close to the tracks. So yeah, so for the filler stuff, I used low poly buildings, and the same for like hedges and forests. Because if you look at these hedges, for example, here, the hedges close to the tracks pretty much only have speed trees, like speed tree bushes and stuff like that, the 3D ones. But then hedges that are a bit further away, here, you've got 2D trees to kind of fill that out a bit, which also lowers the poly count that it has to draw. And yeah, so it's also the same with forests, for example, even though this forest I could probably still do a little bit of a better job, but you can see here the tree density is quite low. I could probably make this even lower in the middle of the woods, but if you go down next to the tracks, you can see it's quite a lot higher, and there are also some little speed tree bushes or other 2D bushes mixed in with the forest. And the reason why I use 2D bushes here is because there are already a lot of speed trees being displayed here. So yeah, so getting a feeling for performance, like which assets are good for performance, which ones aren't. Like for example, there are some car assets. Like over here, I was putting down, actually no, not there, it was down here in Happerswade. So for example, this car asset here, this yellow car, looks fairly innocuous. It looks just like a little car. You could easily put hundreds of those in your town to fill them in, especially when you put a house on, no, especially when you look here and you can see all of these different cars here that all look pretty good. But if I look at this car specifically, which one was this? This one was J Car Renault, the yellow one. If I open this one up, you can see that this one car asset, and this is per instance of this car. If you put it down twice, it's twice this amount. This one asset has 16,388 triangles. And let's see, does it have any LOD meshes for if you look at it farther away? No, of course it does not. Which means this car asset, if you've got the render distance set up like if you've got it a fairly decent amount, like a few kilometers. So if you're back here, for example, if you're back here, and the town is just in the distance all the way back there, then your computer is still rendering over 16,000 triangles for that one car. So you can still use those assets. Like if you use them very sparingly, it's not a problem. Like for example here, I just put one of these down just because I wanted to create a scene here where it feels like a family day trip out somewhere, and you can see there are different people in there, that guy walking towards it, and to just create that feeling, which is worth it. But if you're not paying attention to that, if you maybe don't even know about it, you could easily use dozens or hundreds of these assets and your route starts crawling to a halt, like performance-wise. And that's nothing. Like there was a coach asset. Ooh, I probably shouldn't look for coach. Category. I think it was a. Or was it bus? It might have been bus. Not bush, bus. 1 second. Oh, what's it called? 1 second. Actually, maybe I can add another filter. One second. Category. Scenery? Anyway, I'm not sure if I'll be able to find the asset now. But there was a bus asset anyway. Like a really good looking coach that I wanted to use in front of a hotel somewhere. I don't remember what it was called. I think Eagle knows which one I mean. M007, there we go, thank you very much. Yeah, like... Oh, is it with a space? Oh, that's odd. Didn't find any. Oh, right. M007 or something like that. M007? M007, nope. Oh, come on. Nope, it doesn't find that either. Odd. Anyway, there was like a coach asset where a really good looking coach, and I don't think that was that one. FLO 07. I think I might have looked past them. Oh no, I don't have them installed, that's why, haha. Where are they? They were in here somewhere. I think these are too many assets to just scroll through, but oh, you found it. Thank you very much. That was you couldn't bear to look at the stream. There we go. This asset, for example. Just have a quick download of that. Yeah. So if I look here at this line coach asset, you can see it looks really nice, doesn't it? It's even got an interior with chairs in there. I mean, it doesn't it has the same texture on the inside as the outside, which isn't ideal, but it looks pretty good, doesn't it? But if you have a look at the triangle cut for this one, that's 43,962 triangles. Again, with absolutely no level of detail. Oh, there's another one Eagle says I should have a look at. Oh, this'll be interesting. Let's have a look. Is this going to be the same? Is this just a repaint, or is this a different one? Look at that. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, this one's even better. See, a really nice looking bus with just a few people sitting inside. Yeah. A really nice looking coach with a few people sitting inside. You could easily put this down loads of places. It's a good looking coach. But then let's have a look. Do you see that number? Do you see this number right here? That's 507,206 triangles. And does it have any lodding? No, it does not. So if you place one instance of this bus, a single instance of this bus, as long as it's within your render distance, which in Trainz is usually a few kilometers, you're rendering 500,000 triangles. Yeah. And it's not just those. I mean, it's fairly innocent stuff as well. Like there's like fence assets or telegraph pole assets or electric wires that have hundreds of thousands of triangles per spline or stuff like that. And before the MVR, I never, for one thing, I didn't know how to look at the triangles of assets, the triangle count, and I also didn't know that it was really that big of a performance hit. But that's like a huge thing if you're building routes to, especially if you like detailing, to keep an eye on. Like remember that house that had like 1,000 vertices, where I said, okay, I'm using other houses a little bit further away that have like 60 to a couple of hundred vertices. A single bus over 500,000. Anyway, right. Oh, this chat. Right. Where was I? One way of phrasing it. Command Shift R on Windows. Nah, they were around. Yeah, love detail. Masterful route building and definitely balancing out. First ever one. Yes. Yellow car, I win. It's got to stay on the map though. Just one. Yeah, and like with the bus, I probably with that bus, I probably wouldn't even put one on the map. But like that car, like 16,000 vertices, if it really pulls a scene together, yeah. 160,000 is nothing. 260,000 in one. Not gonna lie, if I was to get a car someday RL, it'd probably be that. Probably that yellow too. I don't know the asset name, but there is a high voltage spline used on C-Mini that has 100,000 vertices, polygons per thing. Yeah, I know, that's the one that I found, I think. Anyway, maybe someone just bought or downloaded this code from a model from a website. Yeah, I mean, that's like the only explanation I have, because if you are making a model yourself, it's so easy to add a LOD mesh, especially with something like Blender. We can literally just duplicate the mesh, add a decimate modifier to get the triangle count down, export it as a separate FBX file, plug it in, and you're done. It's just if you buy the model and you don't know how to edit it, or you can't edit it, then you're running into issues. But like even with my assets, like even with my bins, I added LOD LODE meshes, so that even though they have quite a few polys, it's as efficient as I can make it. The flickering is even nicer. Oh, nuclear industry, water, upfill tank. 2 million triangles! Huh. Honestly, Shadows, you should pitch this whole bit of the stream separately as a message to all asset creators. Huh. Maybe I should pitch it to that guy out there. He seems interested. Actually, he's driving away, so probably not. Should honestly rather make static coach models for your route than having you place those on the map. It'd be a crime against those with lower PC computers, spec computers. Well, if I needed, there are other assets. Right, we're caught up. Now, back to building. So, what have I built today? It's already been an hour. I put the wall from here to here. Luckily, I can afford to do that because I'm building most of this route off stream. It would be ridiculous to make that little progress in an hour if I built an entire route on stream, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be nice. But bus talk. Yeah. So let's make the junction. Let's make the junction. Now, do I want this junction to be on a straight or do I want it to be on a curve? Junctions on curves are of course more expensive, as someone has kindly reminded me. I know. But I think in this instance it would look really nice. Like if I could continue this curve, because you're coming in from a curve all the way from back here, curving left all the way here, then you come into the station here, still curving left, and then you continue to curve left, over the junction curving left, and then you continue to curve left, all the way over this bridge, until you come into the station. Even then you curve left one more time before coming to your platform. So it would be really fun, I think, because this is like a 180-degree turn. It would be really fun to keep this junction on the curve still. There's even a worse one. I can't find it, but I stumbled upon it some time ago. Those buses with people, but 5 of them in a single bus park / station. Ooh. Yeah, because it's like someone took a really high detail bus model and then took some really high detail people models, put them all in the bus, packaged it as an asset, then decided that wasn't enough, put them all into a group asset where it's an entire bus park full of them, and put that up as an asset without any lodding. Oh, well, that's... yeah. Anyway. I need a ruler. In-game, not in real life. Is this one the metric one, or is that the... no, that's the imperial one. Okay, so I want to keep this at around, well, let's do like 200 and something feet. I think that seems good. Normally I keep them at like 170, but here the speed limit's going to be a little bit higher still, and with a little bit of a curve in it, so yeah. Oh yeah, but there was a similar Satara coach built for other countries. Let's have a look. I always think that it looks like it's sticking the tongue out slightly. And that one's Belgium. Oh no! One of the coach models has exact same front as a Levator. Let's have a look. That looks a bit silly, I think. I know it's like an airport bus, but like just really stretched. Not quite what I wanted to fair, yeah. Okay, so let's do the buildy thingy thing. Okay, so I will need a very slight little straight bit here for the junction to align properly. And I could just do a little straight bit there and then try to line up another little straight bit. but that's going to be really difficult to have them be actually parallel. So what I'll do instead is I'll put in a really long straight bit, like that, so that I can get the angle I want. And I'll put the paralleling one in. And yes, I did confirm that it is in fact 6 foot between the inner rails on British, on BR, well, standard gauge stuff. So just about like that, that's 6 feet. So then let's put that up here. And that's pretty much good. Okay, so now that I've got that, actually, hold on. I can get rid of a little bit more of that blue texture. There we go. Now that I've got this properly aligned, I can go in and I can put spline points in there. So just sort of like this. And then I can delete the long bits, and then I've got the little straight bits that I wanted, but they are pretty much perfectly aligned because I had a big handle to do it with. Right, so now let's connect these to put in the junctions. Let's delete those. That looks good, except for these little straight bits. I really would like these ones to be pulled in quite a bit more so that we've got a much better flowing curve. And you can align these by, you can see how the texture here is a lot more squished than on the other side because it's such a compressed small spline. You can align these two splits to actually align the splines properly. So just sort of like that. And then one more here, just sort of like that. So now you can see that the curve is flowing a lot better than it was previously. Right, so that line will then continue, go into the station and do all that sort of stuff back there. Now. We could get started with doing a little bit of the road layout here, which I think is a good idea, but we can't quite do that yet. And that's because there's chat to read. So, SX2, only 66 minutes left, yeah. Indeed, but I reckon one of those Cobuses would be fantastic to be converted into a mobile home. Wide body and pretty much just an empty shell? Yeah, sounds nice. Oh yeah, that you could fit a lot of stuff in there. All you need is some blue orchids. Shardice, also, did you know overhead electric 170 turbostars exist in the form of the 357 electrostars? I think I did. I didn't know about the numbers, but I think I knew that. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Maybe without the poles. I was going to make a joke, but I think it's an ME2 level joke. Blue orchids? Knew it. Anyway, yes. Right. So now, when I start doing the road layout, I usually begin by, well, first of all, hills are an important thing, but I'm probably going to keep most of the city area pretty flat because, well, these two towns, like Oscombe, for example, has got quite a few hills on it, obviously, as you can quite clearly see. And then, of course, Hadley Head is pretty much built on hills, and that just adds so much more work to do if you're building on hills like this. It looks great. Like, look at, like, just for example, just look at that. That looks great. Minus this bit, I still need to do a little bit here to differentiate the colors with the background. But other than that, looks great. But it takes a lot longer to build. And given that pretty much all of this area here is going to be in the city, I'm probably going to keep it mostly flat. well, mostly flat or with some hills that are really low detail stuff. So this area around here, I am most definitely going to keep pretty flat. We'll see. Just going with that for now. Next thing is I decide where I want crossings to be, whether that's level crossings or grade separated crossings. So let's get started with that. We built this city on rock and hills. That's a song reference, I think. Keep the tracks level, but change from sunken to viaduct a few times. That's a good plan as well. The tracks will have verticality in them, like having them built up on like a filled-in viaduct, or having cuttings and stuff like that. But I won't have it be running on the side of a hill where you've got a great view distance. Build the city on rock and roll. Oh, of course, yeah. We have a Herne Hill equivalent on this route. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. So let's do that first with the roads. I won't do stuff back here yet, because the road layout back here will depend on what the actual station building will look like, and if the tracks are going to be extended a bit to have crossovers or stuff like that. So I'm not going to do stuff back here yet, but over here we can totally do that. So I think it's pretty clear that we're going to have a bridge coming across the neck of the station. So now, is that going to be a two-lane bridge, like a regular two-lane bridge, like we have over here in Duckley, for example? Like a road like this going over the bridge? Or is it going to be a dual carriageway, like this, for example? I think that a dual carriageway might look quite good. Can't you have DVTs on one end of the local trains? You mean like cab cars? Is that what you mean? That's not really a thing in the UK. Like, you had like auto coaches back in the Steam era. Yeah, class 91. Oh. Oh, like those. Oh yeah, sorry, I completely forgot that these ones had cab cars. But yeah, that would be the exception, yes. But I don't know about overhead electrifying stuff yet. It would be nice to have, but it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I'm gonna do that. 73 fits more, and it's third rail. Right, so if we were to do it, to have it be like a dual carriageway, or a 4-lane road, would that... what sort of bridges would we use for that? So I'm gonna put down... Actually, I'm gonna get rid of the grade. I'm gonna put down a road. Like so. Drag it up a bit. Make sure it's got no grade. Now, I'm gonna go over and grab one of the bridges, like an FMA bridge. I wouldn't put a dual carriageway in the city. Why not? Boulevard or Avenue. Oh, I meant just, I meant the term as in just a 4-lane road. I don't know. I wasn't using it that specific, like just a 4-lane road. Like, for example, if you go over to London and you go into Paddington, and then you, like, for example, this road here, you can see you've got Paddington Station right there. Yeah, you've got Paddington Station right here. And if you go up here, you've got the A5, which is a 4-lane road, goes right through the city, and then you've got the other one, Marylebone Flyover. Well, that's a Marylebone Flyover, but no, like the A501, which goes, oh right, Globe View, which goes right basically through the middle of London, like this. It's a 4-lane road, and that's sort of the look that I was imagining. And I have actually walked along this road IRL. There's a statue of Sherlock Holmes over here, I think, somewhere. Where is that? Isn't it? Is it right here? I don't know. It should be somewhere over here, I think. Can't see it now. Anyway. So, dual carriageway refers to highway. Light, as far as I know. Well, let's just have a look at the definition of the term. Dual carriageway, Wikipedia, sure. Is a class of highway with carriageways. What's carriageways? Oh, right. For traffic traveling in opposite directions, separated by a central reservation or median, roads with 2 or more carriageways, which are designed to higher standards with control. Okay. So if it's got, basically, it says, okay, it's a type of highway, apparently, and it has to be separated with a median or something like that. It can't just have 4 lanes together. There has to be a median. So I don't know if that road in London would classify, because it did have that median separating the 2 sides. What's the definition of carriageways? Consists of a width of road with which a vehicle is not restricted by any physical barriers or separation to move laterally. Carriageway generally consists of a number of traffic lanes. Okay, sure. Okay. I wouldn't. It has intersections and changes too often. Well, let's just say a 4-lane road then. Although I'm pretty sure that I've heard the term used to describe roads going through towns as well. Like locally, by people here. Who knows? Anyway, I went over to grab a bridge, so I'm gonna do just that, hopefully, if I can find the, hold on, where can I need to click on the actual bridge. 1 second, hold on. There we go. Now there are arching, so this is width. Actually, which width do I need? Is width 20 good? Width 20 might be a bit too broad. Width 12, maybe? Width 12 might be good. So, actually, I am just gonna clone this. Ooh, that didn't work. What happened there? What happened there? What have I got selected? Oh, I see. Never mind. Let me just clone that and then replace it with a bridge so I know I've got the correct alignment height. Now, if I were to... yeah, see, that's not quite wide enough. But what I can do is just use 2 of them. So if I have this grade separate, if I have to separate a little bit like that, let's see what sidewalk, how wide that would be. So I did already use a separate sidewalk down here. Grab that as it. The holding Alt for the pinpad tool is really useful. Right, take the road, clone it, replace with the sidewalk. Now let's just align that. So it's aligned with the edge of the road like that. Yeah, the eyedropper pin pad, yes. That looks pretty well. I'm gonna overlap it slightly, just so that it's easier for curves. And then if I were to bring this over to the side, so just sort of like that, how could we make this work with regards to the arches of the bridge? So I'm just gonna box select all of that. Do these line up in any way? They do sort of. I think I need a little bit more height for the... Actually, hold on. This is an easy trick for finding out the heights of stuff. So if I just put some coaches on the tracks, then I can better gauge what the kind of the loading gauge is like. Yes, that pun was intentional. So over here, we've already got the junction, so it would have to be kind of there where the junction already comes together, which means we've got that height because of the grade. So if I just bring that up a little bit, I can also bring each of the points closer or further away to kind of stretch the spline slightly. But I think that maybe if I move it ever slightly left, is that too close there? I think that's a little too close there. Just sort of like that. That's got space a little bit. And that's got a bit of space there too. So then let's see if I were to, I can just move the road spline a little bit to kind of see if I can stretch this at all. So it would be nice if I could stretch this one a little bit left and this one a little bit. That splits it. No, so that's as far as I can stretch it. That's got plenty of space. That's all got plenty of space. Yeah, that looks perfect. So, okay, this bridge does fit there. Do I want to have that there aesthetically, now that I can actually see what it would look like? Because that's another thing about building routes that I've kind of started doing when I was building the Coleman Mountains Railroad, I think that's when I started, which is lines of sight and points of view. Like, for example, this would fit really nicely there, like from a bird's eye view, but if you're looking at it from below, does that kind of disrupt things? From this angle, I think it's fine. Like if you're coming out of the station, you're approaching it, seeing those grades going through this portal, and then you've got all the junction, all that sort of stuff. So that's fine. What if you're coming from the other side? So let's just say, for example, you're coming this way. Well, you'd be coming this way. Then that would kind of block your view of the station as you're approaching. And as you're coming through, would get revealed. I think that it's fine because of how far away it is. If it were a little bit closer, like here, for example, then I wouldn't put it in, because then it would ruin the view of the station as you're approaching it. What if you're coming down from below? Coming up this way? No, I think that's fine. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that works. Now, yeah, and doing this in a town, like where you've got loads of different streets and loads of different angles where you can with hills and stuff, yeah, that can take a lot of time. Right, so now clone that, move it over. And here's a trick that Eagle told me, which is to reverse the facing of this spline. It's not an option in here, but if you insert a spline point, then delete the spline point, it flips it, which is really handy, if a little bit convoluted. And then try to select the bridge, clone that bridge, move it over to the side, so it's sort of aligned. We're going to put a railing on here anyway. So sort of align it like that. You can see the Z fighting going on. So I'm going to, actually I can do this in the positions section over on the side. If I ever so slightly shift the position on all the different axes, well, technically I don't need to do the Y. Actually, do I need to do the Y? No, I think I need to do the Y. I don't think I need to do the X. Yeah, I do need to do the Y. Yeah, then you can see that it's no longer Z fighting because it's slightly moved to the side. And now we've got a bridge that's wide enough to fit the road on top. And I am going to put a margin in there. Not sure which kind of margin yet. But yeah, that looks good. Now, how are we gonna deal with the road being up here? Right, text. By the way, I am reading it, I'm just not reading it all out loud. Do I really want this? Yeah, build something, lean back, think. Literally, like leaning back is good, like, because then, like, or zooming out, looking at it from different perspectives, imagining what the scenery would be around, like it around there, from different viewpoints. If you're driving from in the cab, or if you're driving from third-person view, does it break line of sight of something else that you wanted, or is it good to break line of sight? Would it otherwise be boring? Because you could have a really long straight bit that you can already, or a really long curve, that you can already see from the beginning, and it's really boring driving through it because nothing new is being revealed as you're driving. But if you break it up with a bridge going across it, that's like a portal you're going through that then reveals the other section, but withholds it before. And so, yeah, viaducts are great. I get to walk under the Brighton one every day, but I think I prefer just round the corner where you can watch the trains go over. Oh, let's have a look. Ah, yes. Is this viaduct the one on the Trainz simulator map as well? Ah, yes. And I would love to have something like this. Like, I do already have something sort of like this in Merfell Village over here, where you can see I've got the viaduct kind of crossing the valley, and from over here, from these houses, like, you can sit there and watch the trains go by. And I would love to have something like that in the city, but from that high up, you would have a great vantage point, to have a great view, and you would expect that view to be filled with scenery, which then means I would have to put that scenery there, which takes a lot more time than the serious amounts of time that a city already takes to make. In fact, here's over the road, slightly similar to what you're building now, just the other way around. Ah. Yeah. That's a pretty tall bridge. Z fighting is out of control. Hahaha. Yeah. Is that a political reference, or is that just a joke? That's really nice too. The line goes east out of Brighton station. Right. Yeah, that does look nice. Interesting that they supported this arch with concrete, but not the other arch. Maybe there were some cracks or some. Yeah, it looks like there might have been some damage up there. that they had to repair or reinforce. Interesting. That same viaduct on the Lewis Road and at the authentic vegetation on the side. Authentic vegetation on the side, you mean like over like where do you mean? Like on the side of the tracks, or do you mean running up the side of the viaduct, or do you mean just on beside the road margin? I don't know what that was referring to, sorry. Train Lake. That does have a bridge passing over the town, but that's just a really small town. That's basically just a bit of a large village. That's nothing compared to a city that you'd have the view of. Before the trees took over, you could see over the station from the road. It was always a fun game to spot a train coming over from the top deck of a bus. You can make that tall viaduct in a city, just make it a hole among hills. I could. On the side of the viaduct. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you mean like on the other, on Merfell village. I did think about that, and I did add some trees on the side, but it took away the silhouette of the viaduct, and I wanted to keep that. If this is an urban city centre, you'll need graffiti. There are graffiti objects. Rudifix has some on the DLS. Yeah, I have downloaded them. I've got them downloaded. I may have already used them somewhere. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to quickly go into paused because I'm going to put the cameras somewhere because I want to show you that I have already used them, but I'm not going to show you where I've already used them. So I'm just going to quickly go over here, zoom in there, and then I'm going to go there, and then Trainz, there we go. Look, that's one of the Rudifix objects there. You can see if I select the house, it doesn't select the graffiti because the graffiti is a separate object. Right. No, yeah, because that is actually one of the official Easter eggs, that house. Which, by the way, I want to reiterate, this time I am keeping a list of official Easter eggs so that I can share what the Easter eggs are, but not where they are. So then you're going to be incentivized to search for them. So, right. Oh no, I've run out of chat. I'll actually have to do some work. Oh no. So the question was, how are we going to bring this road down to ground level? Well, there are two things. Either we could bring the road down to ground level either with an embankment or by just having the spline bridge downwards, or maybe filling in some of the arches, or loads of different ways we could do that. Or I could bring the terrain up to the road so that this is actually cut out of the ground. So you've got retaining walls either side, which maybe. I'm just imagining it now, because I was looking at these empty arches here, and of course I could just fill these in like with a wall spline, so that like a filled in arch, kind of like we've got over here, these arches inside, and have that meet up with terrain or something. Or I could have a road going through there. But I don't know what that looks like on the other side yet. Bring the ground to the road. It would be more realistic. Maybe. I remember you showed me this, keeping record. You complain when we spam. You complain when we don't. We can't win. Now you see it. Now you see the truth of the matter. And in your vision of it, you accept it. Which is good. Because you can't change it. No, I'm joking. Have you considered a loop-to-loop? I have. Back when I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like Ion Tokyo? Not sure. Anyway, if we do bring the terrain up to the road, then we would have to have a retaining wall. So let's grab a retaining wall asset and we'll see what that would look like, because that would have the benefit of reducing the amount of scenery I have to put down as well, because you won't be able to see much. Sure, let's maybe put an office thingy in the arch. So wall it off, put windows and door on it. Could do, yes. Rainbow Bridge in Tokyo. Ah. No, Tokyo has lost an electron and become an ion. Ha. Has a loop for the highway. Normal approach for highway. Well, let's have a look. Oh, you mean this? Oh, Kango's got a link. I see no loop-de-loop. Rainbow Bridge, yeah. In Tokyo. Sure. On the approach to the bridge. I see no loop-de-loop. Oh, you mean this structure where it kind of goes around in that big arch to get up to the height? Like a spiral, you mean that? I was thinking a vertical one. Like from Underground Ernie. Right, so let's try the retaining wall method. That's the wrong way around. So we could have that be right next to the tracks, or we could have it with a bit of space. Also, that's not quite tall enough. So I'd have to... Whoops. Sometimes if you change that of a single vertex, it doesn't undo properly. So I can stack these like that. And then that be the approach to the station. I'll extend it a little bit more, just so see what we have. I'll need to quickly straighten these bits. What's the height? What height does that have? That has height 1.94. And then I've got to, actually I can do this, well I can't. What height does that have? 9.54. 9.54. Never just sort of align this. Oops. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue if you're building on top like that. It can sometimes do weird connections. Actually, hold on, I need to... Actually, what am I doing? I can just clone the other one. Hold on. If I just reselect that bit, clone it, much easier. Okay, so with a retaining wall there, so you're coming in, and you've got the retaining wall on the side, and then you're filtering in. Now the retaining wall would drop on the side down to, will probably come down about here. What if you're coming out of the station like that? That does have a pretty realistic feeling to it. Because a lot of the larger stations tend to have cuttings by the throat or something where bridges cross. It would also look better having like little things growing up the walls, like having trees or bushes and stuff. If I just go over, I haven't got this on these cuttings here because that's very tight and close in. But if I get like one of these trees maybe, and kind of lower it into the ground. Just sort of something like that, where you've got some vegetation growing up on the side, like not just one singular, but on a few bits there. Maybe some ivy splines, some stuff like that. I could see that looking good. And then, since this is supposed to be in the heart of the city, you'd have some taller buildings there as well. So if I look for office, not Microsoft, like this building, for example, if I just put this up top here, sort of like that, what would that look like? So if you're in the station here, just imagine you've just bought your ticket in the station building that's non-existent currently. Come over, and you're waiting here for your train to come, and you're watching different trains approaching and departing and stuff like that. And if you imagine having the retaining wall there, maybe even having the retaining wall come over to the side and then coming down somewhere over here or something like that. Is that look good? Or imagine like you start a session with the train sort of over here. Does that give you a good feeling if you're I think that could work. If you're looking at it from this side, of course you'd have to have I'd have to have the retaining wall over here. Maybe maybe having the retaining wall coming up to the height of this bridge might be nice along here. So then you would be kind of on that level as you're coming in here, and then maybe you could have it drop down along with this. Or actually I have an idea. What if this bit actually goes through a little tunnel? What if I put in like a tunnel spline? I've actually got like ground spline with buildings on top, and then if a little tunnel portal here, and then the other tunnel portal here where it comes out. That could be fun. Yeah, anyway, then you'd kind of drop below the retaining wall, and then you come through, and yeah, and then the kind of the feeling of having the station being revealed is even stronger as you're coming in. I do like that idea. Plus it makes the bridge not look as out of place. I wouldn't have to do much work to make the bridge fit in. Was thinking vertical too. Underground only. Oh yes. Can you imagine taking a vertical loop just to get to the supermarket? Wow. A vertical bridge? Like Falkirk wheel? Sure. Very interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. Hold on. I mean, oh, that's a canal up there. Oh, so instead of having a series of locks, they've just got like a transporting what's it called, like a transport bridge or something like that. Oh, that's really fun. Pity that it only apparently played the video once. Hold on. Did you look at that? Yeah, look, you drive the boat on, and then you just look at the wall for a bit. There we go. Goes up, and then off you go on your long boating journey. I had no idea that such a thing existed. I expect to see it on Century of Mini with custom assets that have LOD meshes. Right, Kangafango says, Western 916. Honestly, Gerald, I really can't fathom how you could buy a fake sapphire bracelet for her. What will she think when she eventually finds out? She's not gonna find out, Grandma. She will when I tell her. Grandma, watch the road. We're approaching the loop. You gotta accelerate or we won't make it. Trying to change the subject again, Gerald. Good God, you're really impossible sometimes. I'm serious, Grandma. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why only subway trains go on those, because they have the wheels that grip around, like, well, I was going to say like roller coasters, but roller coasters are famous for only going underground. And subways are the ones that have the wheels that grip on for upside down. Anyway, sure it is too close to the retaining wall. Needs to be a road between. Maybe. I was thinking that, well, there could be a road right there on the edge running along, but then we'd have to have the intersection right there, which is not a problem. We could have that. But I think this could also be nice to have like a little pedestrian way along here and having the road on this side of the building with like car park in that area. Because if you've got the road in, then you can have the road there, and then you have buildings on either side of the road. Whereas if you put the road in here, then you've only got buildings on one side of the road. And over in Oscom, I've got, with the cuttings here, I've got both versions of that. Like here, I've got the road on both sides of it. One with the sidewalk on that side, one with the sidewalk on both sides. And then back here, I've got a section where it's just a little pedestrian zone with some houses. Over here as well, although here I haven't put in any sort of spline yet. I'm not sure if we're going to do that. And then, I mean, this obviously is on a really steep hill, so... Although I suppose with how tall the buildings are, I don't really need to worry about them not being visible. With more buildings, it could probably look good. Should this maybe look at London Bridge Station as a reference for this? Oh, let's have a look. One second. London Bridge Station. Ah, yes. Good reference. Yes. Why do they not have railfanning specific photos as the top results for stuff like this? Maybe look at little maps. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, London Bridge. London Bridge is built on top of the embankment, like a built-up thing, like a raised. It's elevated, which does look like a lot of fun, and I do definitely want to have elevated bits like this on the route somewhere with stations, but not here. Yeah, and then you've got 10 million tracks going that way. Oop, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Could have bollards between the... sorry. Could have bollards between the pedestrian bridge and the sidewalk. Good. Narrow road, ending next to the boulevard. Have it filled with vans, trucks, and trash bins. Have it be the backside of shops and such. A service location. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Not no kangaroos, though. Not those ones. Oh, the elevated station reminds of your broad gauge route. Yeah, I mean that the elevated stations on that broad gauge route from back then was based on elevated stations and things around London. So, yeah. In that case, it would probably be better to rotate this that way and then maybe add some doors on the back, like some separate door assets. Even though it seems like a shame to waste the detail of this entrance. Because like whenever I'm placing buildings like this, I want to get as much as I can out of the poly count that they have. So sometimes I'll rotate a building the other way around than it's actually supposed to be, just so that I can actually make use of the detail that's there. Also, actually no, that seems fine. Also, are those actually... you can see the no smoking signs in there. Anyway, I just could place it the other way around and put parking lot behind. What do you mean? Although I suppose if you might... No, there are going to be buildings in the way there. I'm not 100% convinced with this asset, honestly. I mean, from this angle it looks good, but from this angle it's... Well, there are going to be other buildings here. I'm putting too much thought into a single asset at the moment. Yeah. So Eagle's suggestion of having a narrow road going along the retaining wall is a good idea, I think. I'm gonna go with a regular width road because I can always place buildings overlapping it, and it's gonna make intersections easier. So, by the way, with intersections, with this, I'm not sure with other road sets, but with this road set specifically, like if I want to have the intersection here, normally, well, actually, I'm still gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna need to put traffic lights on here or not. We'll see. But yeah, delete that bit, replace that bit with one that doesn't have the markings, which actually, now that I'm looking at it, is a different road color than the other ones I was using. So if I select these ones, place them with that asset. There we go, that matches a bit better. Oh, almost approaching 11 o'clock. Yeah, I'm just quickly gonna go in here, delete that little bit, and there we go. Although that needs to be extended across. Just like that. And I could always, of course, add in spline point there, separate that. Which bit is this? That's that bit. Ooh, that's the wrong. I need to grab the handle. Get that there. and then pull that across so that it's just sort of there. And you can, with these tiny little, you can kind of see that the texture is squished. So you can always extend that so that the texture is not squished, and then just put it down very slightly to get rid of the hard edges, but you'll still get a little bit of an edge there. And like with Surveyor 2.0, you can increase the height in very small amounts. So in this instance, 9.47 meters. And you can even go with more resolution than that with the depth. But yeah, I mean, that's good enough-ish. If adding some traffic lights on a medium, if you're flying around with the camera, that's going to look fine. Yeah, and then extending that, continuing to build stuff. Yeah, I'm really glad how this is coming together. And I'm also happy about the interesting, improved station approach. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Just imagine this, like trains coming in and out all over the place, and like city background noise, ambient noise objects, and all that sort of stuff. Anyway. My main thought is, wow, floating tower. Yeah, save, of course. I'm going to go to bed. Quite tired. Good night, guys. Okay, bye-bye, Eagle. Thanks for coming. It was lovely having you. Good night. See you tomorrow. Who knows? No, not a 24-hour stream. Yeah, sure. No, not a 24-hour stream. You can't just say that on my behalf. Bye for now. Shadows, feel free to go on a bit overtime. That's fine. I'm a bit tired myself. 2 hours and we made a crossing. Well, 2 hours, and we had a lot of, like, we had like half an hour of me showing what I've previously built that was new for you, most of you anyway, and also lots of talking theory and stuff, and it was fun. It was fun. Right. Yeah, the LOD stuff and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, this is really nice. Actually, I'm gonna get a thumbnail. It was fun. I'm messing with you. Oh, so you're the one who's been messing with me. All this time I've been wondering, who is it who's been messing with all this stuff? And now I know. Now you have revealed that yourself. I think I'm probably gonna take a... if I take the thumbnail like this, then it'll look like, well, we've built all this stuff on stream. And then when people watch it, and they're gonna say, oh, I wonder how they built all that. And then they have a look at the stream and say, oh, it's already all built. I don't know, something like that maybe? Get the train nose in that was cool. Yeah, bring the 45 over. Maybe. I'll take a couple images. I'll take a couple. Ooh, actually, maybe like this and then have the 465 on there. That could look nice. There are people singing out there and or chanting. Can I enable the lights? Hold on. Why are there people singing / chanting out there? I don't know. No, I can't. I'll have to enable the lights in post-processing, as it were. But yeah, like that I think would make a really nice thumbnail if I add in the lights. Maybe even a little bit higher. I've got a couple variants. Ooh, or maybe that. One of those will be fine, probably, hopefully, maybe. Anyway, 4. Like somebody's having a party out there or something. Zoom in all the way and then do a couple. What do you mean? Yeah, that's me, sorry. Casting is Pellavi. Oh no! Shadows, but you don't have the building on that. I know, it doesn't have to be on that. Oh, this looks good. Do the Phantom Singers take requests? I don't know, you can ask them. Zoom in all the way and then do a couple. Make them cinematic. But I like having the perspective of the curves going further away. Anyway, we've gone past 11. Thank you very much for watching. It's been almost 2 hours, and it's been fun. There's probably going to be loads of progress next week, and yeah. Good night, and good night from those people out there too, probably, maybe. Little bit of the left up, little bit of the right, hold it. That's fun. Can't wait to see the progress next Sunday. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. The archive will be up on YouTube eventually. Bye-bye. They're just really enthusiastically singing out there. Good. Yeah, good indeed.